What's up guys? So for today's video, I want to talk about 5 things that you need to know before going to Southeast Asia. And if you guys are new here and have never seen my face before, my name is Laura. I make travel videos on YouTube. If you guys want to subscribe, this is where I'm going to put the little pop-up thing. That would be really awesome, and join our little family. We don't really have a family name yet, but I feel like you guys can leave some suggestions down below for like a squad name we can all call ourselves. I don't even have the Reidlings. That sounds creepy. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay, if you have any suggestions, just leave them down below. If you guys have followed me for a while, you would know that I have spent quite a bit of time in Southeast Asia. I actually used to live in Bangkok for like 3 months a few years ago. When I was done university, I backpacked for 8 months all around Southeast Asia, and I have been back there multiple times. So hopefully this is helpful, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I never really thought about when I went over to Asia, but I have found very helpful on every trip going over there, is to unlock your cell phone. And by doing this, it's going to allow you to buy SIM cards while you're over there and use your phone like you would back home. And what's good about this is that SIM cards in Southeast Asia are extremely cheap, and so you don't have to spend that much money to get a whole bunch of gigabytes. But I remember in Bali, for 12 gigabytes of data, I think I paid like $10 or $20, and it's gonna depend also to where you go buy the SIM card. And so you might want to do a bit of shopping around before you buy your first SIM card, just to make sure that you are getting a good deal. And then you just pop the SIM card in and your phone will start working right away. And you will have to get the person that you buy the SIM card from to do these, like, they put these numbers in with this code. Usually it's in the language of whatever country you're in, so you don't really know what it's saying, but they have to top it up for you, if that makes sense. They have to put their special code in, and that actually activates the SIM card. And then before you leave, you want to make sure that the data is actually working. So just go to Instagram, open up that app and refresh it. And if you're wondering how you unlock your phone, all you have to do is call your service provider, or if you bought your phone from Apple or it was unlocked already, then you won't need to do this. The next thing is to bring medicine. And when I first went over to Southeast Asia, I brought basically like a full-blown medical kit with me. I actually had so much medicine, and then kind of over the years of travel, that kit got smaller and smaller, to the point on my last Bali trip when I barely brought any medicine with me. And of course, that's when I got little bugs and sickness that I needed stuff. I don't even think I had Advil, and I was just like, I had to go to the store and buy it. And so obviously bringing your everyday medications like Advil and whatnot, you definitely want to do that. One thing I can highly suggest, if you're going to be in a lot of cars and on boats and you do get a little bit of motion sickness, is to bring medicine for that. So in Canada, we call it gravel. I'm not 100% sure what it's called in the States, but it's like my favorite thing ever when I'm traveling, because I am prone to really bad motion sickness. And so even being in a car for a long period of time, if I look down for even like a minute, for the rest of the trip, I'm gonna feel nauseous, which is not fun. And so usually I'll take one of these motion sickness pills. I have one that's both non-drowsy and drowsy. It is a great way to fall asleep on a long car ride or a really bumpy boat ride where you're just like, I'm not into this, I need to be asleep right now. And so highly recommend that. What you might want to do, especially if you're going to be gone for a long period of time, is go to your doctor and get prescriptions for any medications that you feel you might need while you're away. If you know your body is prone to any viruses or infections, like girls for example, if you know that your body normally gets a bladder infection or a yeast infection, it's better just to bring that medication with you, because if you have to do it over there, it usually is a big pain, and you'll spend an entire day in most likely a hospital, because they don't just have random doctor's offices on these islands, and sometimes it can be a tiny bit sketchy. So if you can avoid that, it's just going to make your life so much easier. So I highly recommend just to bring precautionary medicine. Obviously you don't need to bring your entire medicine cabinet, but you know your body best, so whatever you think is good to bring. You can also talk to your parents. They also have very good insight as to what you may need while you're on the road. The next thing is to leave room in your suitcase for clothes. And the first time that I went backpacking, I was like, no, you know what, I can't shop. I can't leave any room because that's going to tempt me to shop. But what did I do? Well, I shopped, because the clothes over there are so extremely cheap and affordable, especially in certain towns or countries. You might not think you have the need to shop until you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, these clothes are amazing. So take Bangkok, for example. They have some really great malls with really cheap stuff. And so if you don't leave a little bit of room, you might regret it, especially too if you weigh your bag exactly to the amount that you need before you have to pay extra, for example, then you're just gonna screw yourself over. My next tip is to bring a small bag for day trips. And I know this might sound like common sense, but I haven't done this on a few of my trips. And then when we do stuff like go out for a day to a waterfall, or say you go hike up a mountain, or even going to the beach for a day, it's really nice just to have a small backpack. I'm actually looking at mine right now, let me show you. So this is the backpack that I have brought on many trips. I can bring it on little day trips, and my camera actually fits in here. So say if we're just going out for dinner and I don't want to haul my huge drone backpack around, because that thing is a beast and it's like very square and not very cute. And so if I'm not bringing my drone, usually I'll just put my camera in that thing, and it has come in handy so many times. Next up, we have transportation. And transportation in every city is going to be a little bit different. So what's really great is to, before you go, look up the certain countries. So for example, some countries have Uber and Lyft. Some countries like the Philippines have Grab, which is really affordable and an easy way to get around. And you can actually get one right from the airport. Just as Uber, you just download an app and you tell it where you are and it will take you on its way. And I couldn't get over how insanely inexpensive it was when I was in the Philippines. It's definitely the cheapest way to get around. And for Bali, for example, so what we actually did, and something I would suggest, is to hire a driver. And you're probably asking, okay, well, how do you find a driver? In Bali, what you can do is once you get to the airport, usually there's a whole bunch of people standing there being like, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? And if you don't have your hotel picking you up, you can actually hire one of these drivers. Always make sure to haggle, because they usually will start with a really high price. And then what you can actually say to the driver is say that you are looking for about 4 or 5, or depending on how much longer you're in Bali for, you are looking for a certain amount of rides. And we'd use him specifically when we were transferring in between hotels or villas, because when you have all of your luggage with you, and say for example, if you are renting a villa that's way down an alley, if you had to pack up all your suitcases and then drag it all the way down the rocky road to the street to try and catch a cab, you're just gonna be a sweaty mess by the end, and it is not fun. So it is nice to have a driver on hand that you can call and tell them the specific time to come for you. And with our driver, I think we paid, going in between places was like 100,000 IDR, which is only around $10. Another thing too is a lot of the Uber drivers actually offered private car services where they would give you their number, and then if you needed a ride, you could text them. And so you can find a driver that way. So either at the airport, or if you have friends who have been to Bali before, people will know of drivers. It's kind of pretty common there. All right guys, and that was my 5 things to know before you go to Southeast Asia. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, definitely make sure to do so, and make sure to subscribe if this is the first time you guys are seeing my face. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.